This week, the government, with the assistance of Senators Jacquie, Lambie and David Pocock, passed into law industrial relations changes that will demand casual and labour hire workers to be taken on as permanent employees. BHP alone says this will cost it an extra $1.3 billion a year in wages, something that could make it rethink whether it will reinvest here in the future. One excellent example here is its copper assets in South Australia, the proposed $8 billion expansion of the Olympic Dam mine with the inclusion of its Oz Minerals Prominent Hill deposit acquired earlier this year. Chief Executive Mike Henry is adamant that if the financial settings are not right, BHP can create a similar resource in Canada. Now, the government has to be careful. Business is united in fighting its industrial relations changes. Money can and will move fast if it gets things wrong. Jobs and growth will be lost. There's also the so-called safeguard mechanism, which applies to facilities that emit more than 100,000 tonnes of carbon dioxide a year. It started in July this year, but it threatens the viability of some of the richest gas prospects in the world. This week, Woodside and Santos admitted they're in talks that could lead to an $80 billion merger. If so, the new company will be one of the strongest gas producers in the world, with choice about where it invests. And right now, the safeguard mechanism is holding up massive gas developments in Australia as the Greens coerce the government with threats about future legislation if they're allowed to go ahead. Now, there is Santos's $4.7 billion Barossa project in the Northern Territory, Woodside's $16.5 billion Scarborough project, and the $30 billion Browse gas project that right now, all of them are in limbo, awaiting potential legislative change and the final sign-off from the companies as well. And, now Woodside Chief Executive Meg O'Neill, well, she told us here 3 weeks ago that she receives a much warmer welcome from the Mexican government and its president than she does from the Australian government when she goes to Canberra. So the government should have taken close note of the agreement signed this week by Woodside to buy 1.3 million tonnes of liquefied natural gas each year from Mexico Pacific to diversify its supply of gas. This is in addition to its giant Trion field in the Gulf of Mexico. The Albanese government cannot take business for granted, and if it wants to keep jobs, investment and taxes in this country, right now it needs to step more carefully than it has in the past year.